So I cannot believe I'm already at this point, but I've owned my Tesla Model 3 for exactly 1 year tomorrow, and I wanted to share my first year experience with you. And the way I've gone about this is I asked my subscribers on YouTube and different people around the internet what they want to know about my first year. I've organized those questions into categories, and I'm going to give you an overview of the car and my first year experience, trying to hit all those questions as I go along. Any questions that I feel like I didn't answer at the end of the video, I'm just going to straight up answer them. I'll also have timestamps in the description below with the different categories. If there's something you're interested in, you can skip around and look at that. So let's check out my first year with the Tesla Model 3. If you're not familiar with my channel, I'm driving the dual motor, all-wheel drive, non-performance Model 3. It was built October 2018. Another thing I want to do in this review is get my wife's opinion, because obviously I'm kind of a big Tesla fan and I may be just a little biased. I try not to be, but of course everyone is a little biased. She's definitely not a fanboy or fangirl, I guess, and she'll just tell it how it is. I know she has a couple of complaints with the car. So that's what we're going to start off with. Let's see what she thinks of the car, and then we'll get to everything else. Okay, so we're here with Stephanie. This is my wife, if you're new to the channel. And she was a little bit skeptical of the Tesla before we got it, before the test drive anyway. And so I want to quickly get her thoughts, positives and negatives, of 1 year with the Model 3. So what do you think? But first, this video is sponsored by the Model 3 Part Shop, and use the code DirtyTesla to get 15% off anything you order. The link is in the description. All right, thank you. Yes, I was very hesitant when Chris first got the Tesla. We debated about it for a long time. It was a really big investment and I was nervous about it, but I am really happy with it. I'm really glad that he got the Tesla. We took a couple road trips in the Tesla and it made a big difference. That was when I really was like, wow, this car is amazing. It made it so much more fun to travel. So overall, you really like it? Yes. What are your biggest negatives? Don't like that it's so low. Is that what you're thinking? No, you don't like the heat. Oh, I don't like the heat. Yeah. It doesn't ever feel warm enough on the really, really cold days, although this heated seat is nice. And I don't like that it's so low, but that would all be fixed with a Model Y. Yeah, that's a sedan thing. That's not a Tesla It's hard to get the baby in and out of the Tesla sometimes without like bumping her head, trying, you know. Anything else Tesla specific? I don't know, I'm just... Yeah. So no, that's it. Just the heat. Just the heat. That's all I can think of, yeah. Awesome. All right, thank you. Well, I'm sure people will have questions. She will answer you down in the comments if you have Stephanie questions. So I wanted to start off with some negatives. Of course, when you're buying a car like this, a big purchase, you want to know what can go wrong. Of course, you're going to be excited. It's a new car or whatever. So some of my complaints I've had over the first year, the biggest thing for me that was a sticking point is the price, honestly. It is a very expensive car. We did stretch our budget just a little bit to be able to afford it. And don't get me wrong, now that I own it, I'm happy I did it. Even a year later, I definitely would make the purchase again. That doesn't change the fact that this car is really expensive. Yes, there are some gas savings, but this car will never be cheaper than a cheap gas car. Of course, other cars that are the same price as this are then more expensive if they take gas. But overall, the car is not cheap at all. You can definitely buy a cheaper car, and that was a big negative for me. This one might seem a little ridiculous, but it is seriously one of my biggest complaints. The sun visors are way too small. They are tiny and they never block the sun for me on the way to work. And you'll see in a lot of my videos, if you watch my driving videos, I put down the little flap that covers the mirror to extend the sun visor just a little bit. And that usually is enough to cover my eyes. Now, I could raise my seat up a little bit, that might help. But in my comfortable driving position that I use, the sun visors are like half the height of my last car. And so most of the time, they don't do it for me. They do not block the sun, and it's a huge annoyance for me every day. As you can see, I live in a wintry, snowy, cold climate. I wish I had a heated steering wheel. I've never had one in a car before, so I guess I can't complain too much. But I've also never owned a car nearly this expensive, and you would think at almost $50,000, a car would have a heated steering wheel. It can't be that expensive. My last complaint, and this is just a fact of electric cars at this time, is winter range. Your range does get destroyed in the winter. And to be fair, on a daily basis, because I can plug in at home and charge really quickly, and my car is full every morning, it's not that big of a deal. So winter range, I mean, it takes a huge hit, anywhere from 30 to 50%. So that's it. Those are my negatives. Other than that, I am absolutely loving the car. Let's check out the interior, look at the wear and tear on the inside of the car, see how it's doing. So looking at interior wear and tear, overall, I'm very happy. If you look at the driver's seat, I hope that comes across in the camera. There are, you know, a few little wrinkles in here.
I don't know if that's normal or bad or good or doesn't matter. I'm really not sure. It doesn't bother me. The seat is still incredibly comfortable. You can see I have aftermarket floor mats here. My car down here is usually really muddy, especially in the winter. But if I pull this up, here are my carpets, and it needs vacuuming, but due to those all-weather floor mats, everything down here is looking good as new. Steering wheel is looking great. I don't really know much about wear and tear on steering wheels, but I have no issues. I don't really see any scratches or anything, any stains. I have a really bad habit of when I reach for something, I kind of do this and hit it with my nail, and you can see I'll just kind of do that with my nail, and I'll leave a little mark sometimes, but it never stays for all that long. The center screen looks great. I clean it off every once in a while with a microfiber cloth. I do not have a screen protector. I've never had a screen protector on it, and I have no scratches. I see no need for a screen protector on here. It just gets a little smudgy like any touchscreen does. Another point on the screen here, I have never had any lag, slowdowns, anything like that. Pretty much anything you do works instantly. Also, talking about the screen, I get this question a lot. I did put an aftermarket mount on here. I have a video about that I will leave in the description for you. Dash area, also looking good. Obviously it doesn't get touched all that much. I've cleaned this area, I don't know, maybe twice since I bought the car. Just a quick wipe off to get the dust off of there, and no issues at all. Center console, looking good. I have wrapped it. This is one of the first mods I did to the car. I bought this almost immediately because I hated the piano black. And this is the original one I put on. It's almost a year old. I put it on almost immediately after I got the car. Center armrest, looking good. No scratches, discoloration, anything like that. Back seats, again, these pretty much never get used. I do have little indentations here from our baby seat. I took this out a little while ago, and these aren't gone yet, so I don't expect them to leave. I did have this little cover, and I guess it didn't protect it enough, but you know, that's what happens when you have a baby. But beyond that, back seats are looking perfect. Again, they almost never get used. Another part of the interior that I just got so many questions about, which really surprised me, was the sound system. And I'll just gloss over it really quick. It sounds good to me. It sounds better than our Equinox, and it sounds better than my last car, but I'm not all that much of an audiophile, and I don't have much to compare it to, but it's very good. That's what I would say. I do have a buddy who's really into audio, and his description was that it slaps. So, you know, I hope that answers that for you. All right, so moving on to the exterior, you can see the car is covered in dirt, so you can't see that many details. This is normally how the car looks. I drive on dirt roads, and it gets muddy really frequently, and I get mud everywhere. So I've added mud flaps, which of course aren't going to protect against that, but they do a pretty decent job of protecting against normal little puddles and splashes and stuff. But overall, the exterior is great. I do have a little bit of the paint loss back here that people talk about. I can edit some footage in when it's clean, but it's really not that bad. Just some little flecks of paint here and there. And to be honest, I haven't ever checked on other cars, so I don't know, you know, if that happens or not. I wish it wasn't there. I wish that wouldn't happen, but it hasn't bothered me all that much yet. As far as maintenance, I really haven't done much. I've filled the washer fluid a few times. I rotated my tires a couple of times. Now, how long the original tires lasted in miles, I can't really give you an exact number because my car came with the 19s, but I only paid for the 18s, and then they came and switched me to the 18s later. But I got the Aero 18s, and I think I put around 15,000 miles on them, and they were at 530 seconds, which is still acceptable. Some people will go down to 230 seconds. But when I went to Discount Tire to get these wheels put on and get new tires, they offered me a little over $100 for my old tires under like a warranty claim. And so I took it. You know, I thought that was good. It paid for about one of these tires. And so the tires would have lasted a little longer, but I think I got around 15,000 miles on of them. So other than that, for maintenance, that's pretty much it. One weird piece of maintenance. If you're familiar with the channel, you've probably seen my video where I take the dirt out of the back. I take the little cover off the back and all the dirt is falling out. I haven't done that again. I did that back in July. It's currently February while I'm filming this. And, you know, it's probably due. I could probably do that again, but it's not something I really worry about or I think is necessary. You can see my brakes are looking really good now that we can see them with these new wheels. Really no issues there. Sometimes I'll get a little rock or something stuck in there every once in a while. And it happened with the Aeros with caps on, caps off, with these wheels. It happens maybe every couple months and they'll squeak for a minute and then whatever it is falls out. But beyond that, no maintenance necessary. I haven't needed to do anything but rotate tires. As far as modifications I've done to the car, the biggest ones are probably the screen tilt. It lowered it and tilted it towards me. And then my wheels, of course. I added this wireless charger here. In here I added this tray for more storage organization, and I have my Sentry mode and stuff down there. I wrapped the center console, which I talked about. I put some additional storage up here. I did do the auto opening frunk, which is nice, but doesn't always fully auto open. I put this aftermarket Tasmanian trunk mat in here, which I really like, you know, for anything that's dirty. My frunk has stayed very clean though, and the easy spring, so I can very simply close it just like that. Wheels, of course, are a pretty big one. In the trunk, I did not adjust these at all because I heard they eventually sometimes break and then shatter your glass if they hit that. So I avoided that one. This trunk mat, aftermarket trunk mat, I put down here from Model 3 Part Shop. I have this little storage organizer down here that I like. And then, like I said, I did wax the car one time, which is probably worn off by now, but to be fair, when I wash it, it does look really nice. As far as the driving experience goes, things like comfort, road noise, rattles, things like that, everything is really good for me. Comfort of the car is amazing. My wife, when we went down to North Carolina, she was pregnant, and one of her favorite places to be was in the car because it was so comfortable. Road noise, I think, is fine. On windy days, I do get a lot of wind noise, and on non-windy days, I do get some wind noise as well. I think some of that is attributed to no engine in the front, no noise, but overall, I think it's great. Now, to be fair, I'm coming from a Ford Focus, so I wasn't coming from a car that had a similar price and was known for its quiet cabin. But for me, it's been good. I have no problem with it at all. As far as creaks and rattles and things, I really don't have much. I did have one over here somewhere on this side, but a few months ago, it just kind of ended up disappearing. I don't know, we did a little hunting for that on our road trip, trying to find what was making the noise, and we never figured it out, and it's been gone for months. I have no idea why. I just recently started to develop some type of rattle somewhere around here. I can't exactly figure out, and like right now, nothing, you know, nothing's happening. So I'm not sure if that rattle's gonna stay or go or whatever. Besides those two, I don't really have any rattling anywhere. Nothing is loose. I haven't really had a problem with that at all. If you're familiar with my channel, you'll know I love autopilot. I use it all the time. On this spot, it gets over and I don't like it to, so I usually turn off the auto lane change at this point. But I'm not going to talk too much about it. I have a lot of videos about autopilot. If you're interested, check out some of my other videos about autopilot, or comment below. I can answer some of those questions for you. But overall, I love it. I use it every day. I drive 70 miles a day, and I would say out of those 70 miles per day, it's got to be 60 of them are on autopilot, somewhere around there. It's definitely one of my favorite things about the car and what initially drew me to Tesla. All right, so to cover some of my other experiences, including costs, I'm gonna finish this one up on the computer so I can show you some graphs and show you what I've paid for insurance and different things like that. So let's go check it out. All right, Ari, are you ready? He's ready. Let's go through these pretty rapid fire. First, I'm gonna go through cost and expenses. So you guys mostly asked about insurance. And here's my insurance rate. I don't exactly remember, but it's up on the screen. If you want to know more, I have a full video about it. And then there were a lot of questions about charging cost and electricity bill. In general, my bill has gone up about $50 a month for electricity, whereas I was paying $150 for gas a month, and that was just for my car, so I don't pay that anymore. So overall, about $100 less a month in fuel costs. Other costs, tire rotations have been free. I go to Discount Tire, they do it for free. I bought some tires. That was around $600 for the tires. I've bought washer fluid a few times, so let's say $5 for that. Like I said, for charging costs, it's about $50 a month for me to charge my car. Here is my total lifetime driving map. You can see my total cost from Teslafy says $768. This isn't exactly correct, but it's pretty close, and this does take into account the free supercharging I get. And then I guess I've spent some money on accessories. I really don't know how much I've spent, but I did buy like the center console wrap, a vacuum. I bought some floor mats. You know, there's other stuff that I bought for the car. So I guess you can include that too. Now, another thing that was asked about a lot is battery range, degradation, things like that. So if you look at this chart here, this is from Teslafy. The blue line, this is actually a new feature on Teslafy. The blue line is my car, and I'm sitting somewhere around 302 or 303 miles at 100% charge right now. The green line is other cars that are same mileage as me with a similar amount of charges. So that's the average on those cars, and those would have similar wear to me. I had a weird dip in the middle. I didn't do anything special to bring that back. It just eventually came back. I did change my charging habits a bit to go up to 90%, but honestly, I think it was a coincidence. I don't think that really had anything to do with it. Okay, so those were the last categories I had of questions from you guys. Now I'm just gonna go through, again, I'm gonna try to do this really fast, rapid fire, and just answer the individual questions that I couldn't really fit into any categories. Sentry mode uses about 2 miles an hour in the summer, and I noticed it uses a little more in the winter, but I actually haven't been using it recently. Do I ever feel the need for rear wipers? Absolutely not. Best cleaning practices, Not sure why you're asking me. Would you ever trade in for a different color or another EV? No, not for a different color, but I am kind of maybe thinking about Model Y trade-in, but that probably won't actually happen. With the car being so low to the ground, do you ever have trouble seeing over snowbanks in the winter? No, but my last car was small, so maybe I'm just used to it. Would you recommend this car over other Tesla models such as X or S to someone looking to get their first Tesla car, and why? I would, and really quickly is because the design is kind of Tesla's latest car design. The S and X are a little older, and I think those are going to get refreshed one day, and you get all the latest stuff, and it seems like the software updates have been trending towards the Model 3 interior and less focused on the S and X interior. Just my opinion. Also, value of the 3 and the Y, way more value than you get out of the S and the X. Now, those are better cars in certain ways. I would love an X, but they're very expensive. Are you happy with the Tesla Model 3 like the first day you got it? Actually, yes. I kind of thought it would wear off, but that kind of like excitement of getting the car turns into excitement for software updates, so that's what I'm always anticipating now. But no, it's crazy. It really is crazy that a year later I can still hop in this thing and I'm just as excited as I was when I picked it up. Does the car have enough clearance to clear curbs and slopes? I have never ever had a problem with this, even on the dirt roads. Any issues with 12-volt battery? Nothing. Has charging become a problem for you at all? And do the Easter eggs become gimmicky? I don't really use the Easter eggs, so I suppose they could be gimmicky, but they are fun to show people. And then charging is not a problem at all. I love it, actually. I prefer it to getting gas in all scenarios. In road trips, and obviously daily, it's much better. So it's way better than gas. Okay, so that's all of the questions that you guys had. I hope that I answered everything for you. If you're watching this and you have more questions, go ahead and comment down below. I hope I was able to cut this down into a reasonable time for you, but I look forward to talking to you more down in the comments. You will see me in the next video.